In today's video, we're going to go step by step on how to create these custom engraved pencils and ruler on the Glowforge. Before we can do anything, we need to take some measurements. So first I'm going to measure the pencil, 7.5 inches. I want to measure the width of the pencil. I got 0.270. I'm going to ignore the 5. 0.270 is close enough. And then I'm going to look here at how far I want the text to be from the eraser tip. And make a note of that. That was 1.065. Also going to measure my ruler, and we see it's right at or just a hair under 1 inch. So that's fine. And then we also need to kind of figure out how much we can engrave there in the middle. So there's a 235, 236. I think we're going to go with 235. So now we're going to set up our template in Silhouette Studio. So first thing I'm going to draw is the pencil rectangle. And I do want to make it a little bit longer than the pencil, so we're going to add on a 1/4 inch, so put 7.75. And then we'll just duplicate those down. And the reason that I did more than the dozen that I needed is because I want to delete every other one. So that way when I make my jig, I'll have some space in between each pencil. And once we got that done, we're going to go ahead and grab them all, move them down. And then I'm going to make the guideline for how far I want the text away from the end of the eraser. So if you recall, that was 1.065, and it doesn't matter the height of this rectangle, it's just going to be there for a moment so I can make my vertical line. And now that I have my line, making sure that it goes through all of the pencils, and that's just going to be a guide. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color. We'll pick purple here, and so it's just so we could ignore it when we get to the Glowforge. And then we're going to line that up. So that line is now 1.065 from the edge of the pencil erasers. And now we're ready to go ahead and create our ruler template. And so our ruler is a little bit bigger than 12 inches, so we'll go 12.25, just so we know we have enough size. And here I put 1.2 for the ruler height. That ended up being too big, as we see later on in the video. So we're going to do it just, well, I ended up going back and modifying that part of the jig and made it 1.02, and that ended up being just the right height. Now we're going to make a vertical guideline that's going to show us where the center of the ruler is. So that'll help us center our text. And so we're going to create this rectangle here, and that's going to give us the center of our ruler. Next, we want to create a rectangle that's going to show our engrave area on the ruler, and our engrave height we want it at 0.235, and so we'll make this the same length as the entire ruler, 0.235, and then we're going to just make sure that we get that centered up in the middle there, so when we create our text for the ruler, it'll be perfectly placed in the center of our ruler. Now that our jig is set up, we're ready to go ahead and start adding our text. And so here's the font that I like to use. And we're going to go ahead and make this be a 15 point. So you'll see me select the font here. It'll be in the description as well. And then we'll make that 15 points. That's the perfect size for this font for the pencil. And then we're going to center it there on the pencil and zoom in a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the outline. And then we'll fill that, and I'll use blue, and we'll set blue to engrave. From here, I'm just going to copy and paste over and over again, and so that'll give me that text all the way down on all the pencils. And once all of our text is added to the pencils, we're going to copy and paste one last time. This will be for the ruler text, and we're going to use the same font, but a font size of 26 points. So I'll increase that a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and just add on Miss More rules, because it's a ruler. So yeah, good one. And we'll go ahead and make sure that's centered both horizontally and vertically. And I'm going to use a different color than the blue, because I do want to use slightly different engrave settings for the ruler, since the ruler's a different height than the pencils. So we'll use a different color for that. I'm also going to go ahead and paste in some ornaments that I have, some pencils, and we'll make those a different color too, so that way we can we can score those. So we'll get that set up and oriented and placed exactly where I want them. And we'll duplicate that over and drag it. And oh, you know what? Forgot to flip that one, so it's kind of give it a symmetrical look on both sides. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick here. And everything looks good. We're ready to save it. Save it as an SVG, and then open up your Glowforge. We're going to set this to cardboard, 1/8" cardboard. Load up our cardboard into the Glowforge, pin it down. And then we'll load our file. So the SVG that we just saved, we're going to load that, set focus. I like to set focus here in the middle. And while that's setting, we'll go ahead and select our image and kind of move it over. And focus is now ready. And for me, I had to put this off the edge. My cardboard was only 12 inches, so a little bit is sticking off the edge there, and that's going to be okay. Set everything to ignore for now, except for those lines, the rectangles for the pencils and the rectangle for the ruler. So all of my guides are going to ignore, all of my engraving I'm going to ignore, and go ahead and send that to print. Only 1:42, that's pretty good. Let's go. All right, once that's done, I use a razor blade to just remove those inner cardboard pieces. Just peel those out. And when I went to put my ruler in, so as I mentioned earlier, 1.2 was way too big, and it just gave me too much wiggle room. So I had to kind of center the ruler in the middle of the hole and then just tape it down. And that actually worked out really well. But, you know, having a correct size jig from the beginning would have been better. So now we'll just load up our pencils. Make sure I have a flat side facing up. So these are hexagon pencils, so flat side down, flat side up. Gives me a nice, smooth, even surface to engrave. Now we're going to go back to our Glowforge and we're going to change our settings. So the engrave, we're going to go ahead and make that to be an engrave, but we're going to manually set our settings. So 500, power of 25, 270 lines per inch, and then our height was 0.27. So that gets us that. And then for the ruler, I'm going to do just a regular engrave, but I want to change this to a medium draftboard. And so it thinks it's a medium draftboard, and we're just going to do the standard Proofgrade settings for that. So nothing special there. Keep all of our guides ignored, and then I'm going to score those pencil ornaments. And then again, we're going to ignore the rectangles that we made for our jig. Once everything is set up, we'll hit print. A little more than 6.5 minutes, and let's go. And now that it's done, an optional thing that you can do is use a baby wipe to kind of just wipe it down. So I do that sometimes. I don't always do it on every project, but I'm doing it here. And remove our tape, and we'll see how it turned out. So it does look really good.